First of all, if you're looking for today's 21C Fiscal Reporting Instructions webinar, you are in the right place. You have been muted upon entry, and there will be a Q&A session at the conclusion of today's presentation. So please do write down any questions that come up and save them for the end. We will be addressing all questions at the end. My name is Catherine Kuhn. I'm the Youth Development Program Coordinator at the Center for Schools and Communities. I will be the moderator for today's session. Michael Basari, who's also joined us, is our tech monitor today. The session is being recorded and will be available in several days on the 21st CCLC website. Please note that materials from today's presentation will also be shared with you once they are approved and ready to send out. Today's webinar on fiscal reporting instructions will be presented by Jenell Walters from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So I will now turn the microphone over to Jenell and Watanya to begin.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Jenell Walters, management technician, and I will be walking you through the fiscal reporting instructions. And with that, I guess I'll get right into it. This is my contact information, my email, my phone number if you need to reach out. And the secondary or backup contact would be Maribel Martinez. This is an example of a single page expenditure report. Your program cannot receive reimbursements without it. Expenditure reports must be emailed to the RA account monthly. There is no need to CC or email the fiscal person a second copy unless you are previously instructed. Please remember to sign the report, otherwise it will be rejected. The person who prepared the report should sign it. The top left is your cohort year, FC or account number, the reporting period, the name of the person that prepared the report, and their contact information. When the FC number is entered, the remaining grantee information will automatically populate. Preparer's information will still need to be entered manually. If there are red balances on the expenditure report, you have exceeded your budget. You must contact your program officer. You need a budget revision. Do not submit your expenditure report with red balances. It will be rejected. The first column cites your program's approved budget. Prior to changing these numbers, an award letter must be received. If these numbers do not match the approved budget at the Pennsylvania Department of Education, your expenditure report will be rejected. Even if the revision is made and sent to the comptroller's office in July and the unpaid report is from December, the expenditure report must match what is on file with the comptroller's office for the most recent approved budget for that cohort and year. Your approved budget will always be whole numbers. I check each of these reports against what is on file with the comptroller's office. I can't accept approval letters provided by grantees, as the comptroller's office will only accept the approved budget that they have on file. The actual expenditures list the totals from the breakdown sheets. Previous cumulative references your program's totals from all of the previous months of the current grant year. These three columns are the only cells that are entered in manually. Cumulative expenditures populate automatically from the figures in the approved budget, actual expenditures, and previous cumulative. Grantees will not change the formulas in this column. Balance populates automatically from the figures in the approved budget and cumulative expenditures. Grantees must be aware of the totals in this column, as the figure must not become negative. Negative figures in this column will result in an email from me reminding that the expenditure report cannot be paid or it will be delayed. Grantees will not change the formulas in this column. Directly below the budget table is the signature block. Expenditure reports that are not signed and dated will be rejected. The final section of the expenditure report is a certification and a PDEU signature block. It is preferred that all reports are uploaded. The first sheet is the cover sheet. The figures listed in the amount column are the totals that are listed in the actual expenditures column on the expenditure report. This is the sheet that will be sent in regardless of the reimbursement amount that your program is requesting. This sheet is formatted so that all data that you change at the top will automatically populate on the other sheets. When using the Excel templates, please take note of the following. The layout should be portrait, not landscape. Do not change the cell sizes. It is recommended that you hide unused cells. Files must be uploaded as one single document. Please do not submit multiple PDFs to the FTP system. All breakdown sheets will have the items above on them. Only those breakdown sheets that have totals for the month are necessary to turn in. However, grantees will submit a cover sheet each month, regardless of the amount being requested. The Category 100 sheet lists all individuals that receive a salary or hourly wage from your program. Individuals on this sheet are full-time, part-time, or temporary employees of your program. Each employee must have a name, title, rate, and hours worked. This is compared against all Category 100 entries on your program's budget narrative and the supporting documents. Acceptable supporting documents for this category would be one of the following: a check stub, time clock printout, or timesheets. Unless you are using the same supporting documents for categories 100 and 200, you will add the supporting documents after this breakdown sheet. Professional services, contractors. There are 3 breakdown sheets for this category. The use depends on the services and/or individual classification. Regardless of which sheet is used, it must have an entry in the name or contractor title or service description, hourly rate or fee, and hours or sessions. The total amount column will calculate the amount. Do not change the formula. Items on these sheets can include contracted employees, payments to a temporary service, specialized services, or external evaluators. All supporting documentation should correspond to line items on the approved budget narrative. Contracted teachers. 21st Century is aware that some grantees classify their instructors as contractors. If you do not pay a third party for use of the teacher's time, you will treat this breakdown sheet the same as Category 100 form. Purchase property services. Line 400 must have an entry in the contractor and service description. The total amount column will calculate the amount. Do not change the formula. Items on this sheet can include rent, utilities, or snow removal. There is no need to put in an address as it is entered in the narrative and should be listed in any supporting documents sent in. Note that this is for sub-grantees that are renting a building to provide direct services to 21st Century students. All supporting documentation should correspond to a line item on the narrative. If you are sending in multiple supporting documents, you will place one invoice per line. Please do not combine invoice totals. Other purchase services must have an entry in the contractor, service description, rate, and units worked. The total amount column will calculate the amount. Again, do not change the formula. Items on this sheet are any and all travel expenses related to conferences, communication costs such as cell service, landlines, fax, cable, or internet, buses for regular or field trips, printing, or property insurance. Units would be units of time or distance if they are applicable. Supplies must have an entry in the vendor, the date on the receipt, or the last 7 of the invoice number from Amazon, and a brief description. The total amount column will calculate the amount. Do not change the formula. Items on this sheet are any and all items that are purchased for the program that are under $1,000 per single unit, including but not limited to books, postage, software, licenses, office, school, or cleaning supplies, or student incentives under $25 per student. You will fill out a line for each invoice or receipt that is sent in for supporting documentation. The description should be short and state the purpose of the item purchased. Ensure that all items requested for reimbursement are included in the budget narrative. If an item falls in a specific category, please indicate that on the breakdown sheet description. Breakdown sheet 900 is for indirect costs. Indirect costs represent the operating expenses that are not readily identified with a particular subgrant, contract, project function, or activity. Still, they are necessary for the general operation of an organization and the conduct of activities it performs. In theory, expenses like heat, electricity, accounting, and personnel might be charged directly if meters could record minutes in a cross-cutting manner. However, practical difficulties preclude such an approach. Therefore, cost allocation plans or indirect cost rates are used to distribute those costs to benefiting revenue sources. Rates are approved by PDE. All reports are due on or before the 10th of each month. Failure to submit on time may increase your risk assessment score. Prepare reports in Excel and save them as a PDF file. Only send one support document per claimed item or service. Expenditure reports are to be emailed to the RA account. This should be a single page. Upload your monthly report to the FTP site. Hide your empty or zero lines to maintain the clarity. Do not send blank breakdown sheets. Use the proper naming conventions to ensure ease of review. Your grantee name, cohort number, and last 5 digits of your FC number. When in doubt, email your fiscal officer. Frequent issues, requesting reimbursement for items not on the budget narrative.
And I'm going to jump in on this part so that you're aware. 21st Century program officers have started to review supporting documentation at random. If we find items that were paid that should not have been, like an unallowable expense, the program officers will reach out to you, and any expenses that were sent in error, we will make sure that we will recoup those costs. So please be sure that when you submit your invoices, that it's on your budget narrative and it's approvable 21st Century costs.
Budget exceeds the maximum spending limits for the program director. Submitting expenditures using an incorrect or unapproved budget. Line item budget details do not match overall budget column totals. Budget calculation errors. Failure to use the naming convention. Submitting multiple PDF files. Failure to submit the expenditure and monthly reports on time. Failure to submit expenditure reports and supporting documentation could result in late or no reimbursement. If you need an extension, you may request it from me via email. If any discrepancies are found, your fiscal person will be notified and given a 5-day time frame to correct the issue and resubmit the documents. If you need a new template for this file, please contact me and I will email it to you. If you are sending more than one file to the FTP, please send it as a single PDF file. Files not following the naming convention will be set aside and reviewed last. We'll open it up for questions.
Yep, so this is our contact information again, and we will open it up for questions.
I have a question. Are we putting it in the chat or can we just ask?
You can just ask, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm from Southeast Delco School District, and we were told we could start our programming on March 1st, but we have not received our award letter yet. So I haven't been able to submit our March or April expenditure reports. So obviously they're going to be past the 10th when I submit them. How do I go about, is that okay just when we get the letter to submit them then?
As soon as you receive your fully executed contract, and you can submit from the time that you started. And I'll take a look into that to see what the holdup is, okay?
I appreciate that. And then I have one more quick question. Last year that we didn't have to do the monthly expenditure cover sheet. Where can I find that cover sheet?
We can make sure that you get a copy of that, Leanne.
Thank you.
There was another question in the chat. Someone asked, can you elaborate more on the requirement of contractor related to the instructors? That was back slide 10 or 12 or something.
Hold on, we're referring back to that slide.
Let me pull that up.
So can you elaborate more on the requirement of contractor? There was a mention of contractor versus instructors or instructors who are contractors.
Was that in regards to substitute teachers? Because sometimes grantees use a substitute teacher and they would be considered a contractor. Can whoever put that question in elaborate a little bit more for us?
Yeah, hi, this is Casey Sturckman.
Casey.
Yeah, hi. I thought you had said something about using an outside entity. I don't know. I was a little confused by when you had mentioned that. So we are paying we are paying an invoice to one of our sites that is paying payroll for the teachers at that site. I didn't know if that's what you were meaning, or I was just confused by that
Yeah.
comment.
That would fall under the 300 category. So that's, yes, that's exactly what we mean.
Okay, so we shouldn't submit that portion under the 100 category. It needs to be submitted under the 300 category. Is that correct?
Or if they're contracted and if it's a contracted substitute teacher, yes.
No,
it needs to be under 300.
they're regular teachers at the site. They're not substitutes.
So then they would be under 100.
Okay, even if we're getting like an invoice for like their payroll, and not paying the teachers directly, they're still 100, not 300, correct?
Yes, 100.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Jenell, this is Willie Filer from PHMC. I did have a question regarding the due date. You said it was due on the 10th of the month. Our ledger doesn't close until probably about the 13th or 15th. So that's going to present a problem every month because we need a backup. And the only way I would be able to do that is once it's posted in the ledger, and that's going to be after the 10th. What do we do about a situation like that? Do I need to reach out to you every month and let you know that when we can get it in? Because it's never going to be the 10th.
Yes, please. If you could just shoot me an email and let me know
Okay.
around when you think you can send it in. That'd be great.
Okay. And then one more thing. When you were talking about the different category, wouldn't you use the categories that we submitted on our budget? Wouldn't that be how you would do this? Like whatever you put in, whatever we budgeted in the category 300, isn't that what would be on the expenditure report?
That is correct. That's correct, Willie. So whatever's in your budget narrative, this breakdown sheet should match the category on your breakdown sheets.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Danielle asked in the chat that she does not believe they received the invoice template. Should she contact Jenell or Watanya? I'm assuming the answer to that is contacting Jenell. Is that correct, Jenell?
Yes, contact Jenell, and we're taking notes, so we'll make sure that you get one. Danielle, can you tell us what grantee you're associated with, or put it in the chat if you can't talk, please?
Oxford Circle, CCDA.
Okay, thank you very much. Oxford Circle. Are there any other questions that we can ask or that you guys need support in?
Gary asked in the chat, if we use a credit card and purchase something in April, for example, but it is not paid till the May statement is due, is it okay to post it in May?
Yes, you can post it whenever you receive the bill, because you have to submit the bill for that item.
Any other questions? Okay, well, we'll see none. Thank you, Jenell and Watanya, for taking the time to share with us today. It looks like that'll conclude our session. We will have the recording of this session up on the 21C website within the next few days. And as I mentioned briefly earlier, we will be sending out the PowerPoint materials once they are ready and approved to go out to everybody. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, bye.